Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Kayleigh McEnany here with my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Emily Compagno. Also joining us for the first time on the couch, Caroline Downey, National Review staff writer and senior fellow at the Independent Women's Forum. Welcome. And David Asman, Fox Business anchor.
Not my first time.
Not your first time. All right. Well, instead of laying out a vision for America, which is what any political party should be doing, right? Democrats are trying to take down President Trump. They are vociferous in that. First, Trump was, you'll remember, a threat to democracy.
Should be clear that he is a threat to democracy.
Threat to our democracy.
Threat to our democracy.
Threats to our democracy.
Threat he poses to our democracy.
But then that threat to democracy won the presidential race. So next, Democrats declared we were on the verge of a constitutional crisis.
By definition, are we in a constitutional crisis?
Dangerously close to a constitutional crisis.
Constitutional crisis.
Constitutional crisis.
Constitutional crisis.
Constitutional crisis.
Constitutional crisis.
Point, but that did not stick. So Democrats threw that talking point out the window. They found a new one. Trump is chaos.
CNN's Elena Treen is at the White House with more on this chaos, confusion.
This is about causing mass chaos.
Chaos is
Chaos.
Chaos.
He's unleashing chaos on the American people.
Voters appear to like this so-called chaos. Look at this. A new Harvard-Harris survey shows President Trump with a 52% approval rating. That's after his first month back in office, and that's majority support. Trump also has strong support with key voting blocs. Look at this. 45% of independents, 47% of women, 50% of Hispanics, and 50% of suburbanites all approve more than disapprove of President Trump. Not so bad for chaos. You know, Emily, when you drill down on these numbers, they're fascinating. I want to pull up just Biden-Trump comparison, okay? So just first month of Trump, last 4 years of Biden. And what you get, Trump's winning on the economy by 11, immigration by 22. I would love to meet the 34% who thinks that Biden did a better job on immigration. He's winning by 10 on foreign affairs, despite all the media criticism, by 9 on administering government, by 11 on inflation. I'll take that scorecard.
Because the reaction that the mainstream media is citing is simply their own, right? It's like when you lift up a rock and all the ants scatter and freak out. The chaos is not coming from the top. Actually, what's coming from the top is a mandate and execution of the mandate of the American people and totally clear, frankly, very concise directives that are constitutional. It's the reaction, the huffing and the puffing and the absolute freak out. And I saw this during my time as a federal attorney when simple mandates that had come from Congress, who, by the way, kept the lights on, right? Via the American people, it was the congressional apportionment of salaries and also of budget. So if all of a sudden there was a demand by Congress for an increase in productivity, you should have seen the freak out. But we need to give the best result. No, you don't. You need to pump out a Ford. You're not pumping out a Jaguar. It's time to actually do your job. And the fact that the lockstep verbal language is so clear and undeviating and it's changing by the week, well, then that just goes to show you what utter trash this response is.
You know, James Carville has an idea. It's an interesting idea. He's calling for retreat. Listen. So we don't have the sound here, but we do have the text. So we'll read it to you. Only until the Trump administration has spiraled into the low 40s or high 30s in public approval polling, percentages should we make like a pack of hyenas and go for the jugular. Until then, I'm calling for a strategic political retreat with no clear leader. It's time for Democrats to embark on the most daring political maneuver in the history of our party, roll over and play dead. Problem for Mr. Carville, who, by the way, everyone kind of hails him as some huge political mind, except he was all in for Kamala Harris, to the end. Now he calls her, I think, the 7th string quarterback. Interesting. He's going to be waiting a long time, David. When you look at the numbers, 81% in favor of Trump deporting illegal immigrants, 76% on finding fraud and abuse, 69% on banning biological men and girls sports. I mean, look at these. It is hard for any politician to get to 50. These are the Trump policies.
Well, Emily mentioned the ant scattering. I think ants have a lot more common sense than either the Democrats who are screaming Carville or their echo chamber in the media. That's really what's extreme. Remember Rush Limbaugh used to say years ago, he used to talk about how the symbiosis between the media echo chamber and the Democrats. Now it's begun to catch up with those in the media who are were the echo chamber. They're not quite as reliable. Some of them are getting fired. Some of them are being laid off. Some are being told to stand back because at least they realize there's some kind of feedback between advertising dollars and what's happening on air. There's no feedback for the Democrats. They only have one message, and that message didn't work, as you said, during the election, clearly didn't work, but I don't think they're getting the kind of reaction that they were hoping to get from either the general public, which the numbers are clear, aren't reacting to what they're saying at all. In fact, maybe they're being pushed even more to the right by what they're hearing from the Democrats. But even the media now is beginning to give another look. The legacy media that had always been the echo
execs
chamber
are,
for them.
because they're looking at that bottom line.
They're looking at the advertising dollars, and it doesn't add up.
You know, Harris, this is my favorite number that I found, and it's when you compare Democrats by name and Republicans by name, because we've heard so much about Elon Musk and demonizing of him and how bad he is. And despite all the negative publicity, what you see is Trump is +7 in the polling, RFK +9, Vance +4, Elon is even, Kamala's -14, Biden -24, AOC -14, Schumer -18.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, when James Carville, and you were reading what he said, when you said Democrats need to retreat, I thought you meant like a spa weekend.
Retreat?
I didn't know that you meant like step back and just let them cook. They're cooking up everything, and if you wait too long, when will the Democrats ever be able to re-engage substantively, because they're losing their audience, literally.
Yep.
So on the point of what they do going next, first of all, shouting more woke and all the things that don't work won't do it. So I don't know who they're selling their stuff to, but it's the wrong stuff. And James Carville can say all he wants, but they need a new leader. Who is that person? It's not even Hakeem Jeffries. Yep. He was asked that question. I mean, he's the ranking member in the House, was asked that question a couple of weeks ago, and he didn't say, yes, I'm the new brand of leader, and here are my ideas, and I hope that they back me, and I hope that they can let me help them go. No, he didn't say that. They don't know. He didn't take that role. Well, who is it going to be? Otherwise, it's a bunch of people shouting their own ideas at each other. It is a pure mirror fest at this point.
I think that's the million-dollar question, Caroline, and welcome. We're so happy to have you, is who's it going to be and what are they going to do? I mean, voters are clear. If I were Democrats, if I were the DNC, I'd sit down and say, what are voters telling us to do? Well, to the tune of 66%, they're saying, listen to what we have to say about Trump and then act. And they're even saying, to the tune of 66%, again, get on board with cutting spending.
Yes.
That sounds like Doge.
Yes. And voters rejected the status quo, which included cleaning house in the government. And, if there is chaos, it's good, organized chaos. Trump is being extremely methodical about undoing the Democrats' chaos. He's draining the swamp, because the swamp for the longest time was allowed to just sit and enjoy itself and, run the taxpayers dry. And now it's getting a shakeup for the first time in a long time. And what about the Democrats' subversive chaos? Chaos is allowing an unprecedented number of illegal aliens into this country to strain our social services and cause crime that otherwise would have never been created. Chaos is when the culture is split on the definition of what a woman is because of dictates from the Biden administration. Chaos is when we're allowing permanent patients with gender confusion into the U.S. military, on taxpayer dime. This is all chaos. This is the real chaos that the administration of the last 4 years was peddling and that the people rejected unequivocally at the ballot box.
I love what you did there. You took the chaos talking point and you turned it on its head. And you're exactly right. About half of voters said we think they left the border open intentionally. Half of voters think that about Democrats. Not good. We're getting new video of a nice moment at the White House. The White House tours are officially underway. As you'll remember, First Lady Melania Trump announced their return following the transition of power. We're getting new video of this moment. It was during the first official White House tour of the year. President Trump stopping by to say hello.
But I want to thank you very much for coming. The tour is so great. We did such a good job. First Lady worked very hard on making it perfect, and I think you're going to really love it. And I heard you were here, and I said, let's stop by and say hello. And it's a group of very smart-looking people, I must say. Very smart. Maybe someday you'll be here as the president, right? Somebody in this group has a chance. Have a good time. Have a great tour. And you're going to give them a special tour, okay? You're going to get a special tour. Have fun, everybody.
Treat for them.
Yeah,
huh?
what a treat. It looks like they're right beneath the White House residence. And what a special moment to get to tour the West Wing, to get to tour the White House. That's, after all, the people's house.